Okay, we should be going live in a few seconds. And if you want to rename yourself in the chat so that if I have to refer to you by name, I'm not going to accidentally say the wrong name, you can go ahead and rename yourselves in the chat if you like. But let's get the link for the live stream if you want to take a look over there. It's going to be at this link right here. Let me copy that and provide that to everybody in the chat. Okay, so it seems like we don't have so many students right now, so we're just going to wait. We're not going to wait. We're going to do a little warm-up exercise while we're waiting for some more students to straggle on in. And first of all, we're going to go over to our JS Linux machine. So JS Linux is a great little website that you can use to access a Linux machine on the web. And it is over at the link that I've just dropped in the chat. So if you want to go over to the link that I just provided to everybody in the chat, let's drop that link one more time. You can start practicing some of your Linux terminal commands after you've loaded up the page. So for instance, after we see that this is all loaded up over here, we can type ls to see what's in this directory. So ls, as you remember, is the list directory contents command. And we see that there's a bench.py file and a hello.c file. If we want to see that in a list format, we can also do ls with -l. So if we do that, we get some slightly different output. And we see that there's a list instead of just some file names over here. So inside of this list format, there's a bunch of useful information here, like the file owner and the last time the file was modified and some file permission stuff. You don't really need to know too much about that right now, but you do need to know that ls is going to get you the contents of your directory. So does anybody remember how to read files? So there was a certain 3-letter command that you can use to read files, and if you know it, please let us know in the chat. Okay, so we see that GX000 just subscribed on Twitch. Thank you very much, GX000. Much appreciated. And user D says it is the cat command. User GX00 says this is the vi command. That is not correct. But we might talk about the vi command a little bit later. So GX000, I'm teaching a class right now, so we're talking about Linux terminal stuff, the basics. So we can use the cat command to read a file. So for instance, there's this hello.c file over here. We can read that by doing cat space hello.c, and this is going to give us some code because this file has some code in here. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, this is a class. I'm teaching some students how to work with Linux. Okay, so let's get into the meat of today's class. So I've got a little presentation for everybody, and we're going to talk about some of the commands we used in the last class. So where were we? We're right here. So this is the second Intro to Linux OS Operations workshop, and in the previous workshop we learned about the following Linux commands. So first of all, we talked about the ls command. It lists the files and directories in the current directory, and it can be used with the -l argument to output in the list format and with the -a argument to include hidden files in the output. So we can also combine these two outputs together. So if we wanted to do -l and -a at the same time, we can do -la. So this is fairly common when we're working inside of Linux. The next thing we learned is about the cat command. So the cat command lists the contents of a file. So sometimes people who are using Linux will say that they're going to cat the file. We're going to cat this file. That just means we're going to read the file. So the name of the file to be read must be supplied as an argument to the command. So we've got cat space example.txt. So this is the type of syntax we would use when we use the cat command. So next we're talking about the cd command. So cd stands for change directory, and this is how we move around in the file system. The cd command changes the current directory to the one specified. The new directory must be supplied as an argument to the command. for instance, if we want to move into the downloads directory, we would do cd space downloads. Okay? So we also did some PWD. PWD stands for print working directory. The PWD command will output the name of the working directory, also known as the present working directory. And we use the file command, and the file command is going to identify the type of contents for a specified file. So for instance, you can use the file command on picture.jpg over here, and it's going to tell us that it's a picture file, probably. So if we were to go over to JS Linux, and remember, if you have a bunch of stuff on your screen and you want to clear the screen and go back up to the top of the terminal, you can use the clear command. So just type clear and hit enter, and that's going to do that. So if we were to use the file command on hello.c, this file right here, it's going to tell us it is a C source file. So this is a handy command for getting back what the contents of a file might be. So let's continue where we left off. So what we're going to do is we're going to log into the picoctf website, and then we're going to start the following challenge. So first of all, what we want to do is we want to start our picoctf web shell. So if you remember, what you need to do is you need to sign in to the picoctf website first. And after you've signed into the picoctf website, you want to go to the practice page. So I think the website will take you to the practice page by default. But if not, you can always click on this button right here, and that's going to bring you to the practice page. So after that, you want to scroll down a little bit, and then you're going to see this button appear right here. So this is the button that opens up the web shell. And if you are, so just so everybody is on the same page, if you are logged into the picoctf website and you're ready to open up your web shell, please type in the chat, "I'm in Pico," smiley face. If you need a little bit of time to log into the website, please let us know in chat, and we'll try to wait up for you as long as we can. All right, some people are reporting in. They're in Pico. Great, great. Great to hear. Okay. All right, so remember, after you're at the practice page, then what you want to do is you want to click on this gray button right here. It's labeled Web Shell, and it's on the right-hand side of the screen. So just click on that button, and then the picoctf Web Shell should open up. So you'll see that the web shell is open because you're going to see all this text right here with a bunch of emojis over here. What we want to do is we want to put this in its own browser tab. So we can do that by pressing this button right here. So there's the black bar at the top of the web shell, and then there's help, and then there's this button right here that looks like a box with an arrow pointing out. And the box is labeled Pop Out Web Shell Terminal. So we want to click on that, and then that's going to put the web shell in its own browser tab. So this might not work the first time. I know that I've had a little bit of difficulty opening it up in its own browser tab, but if it doesn't work and after maybe 10 seconds you don't see the web shell session start, you'll want to close the tab and then try the process one more time. So click on web shell, and then after that, click on Pop Out Web Shell Terminal, this button up here. And you might have to try it maybe 2 or 3 times, but one of those times it's going to work, and then that's what we want to do. So you're going to see all this text over here, and if you want to make the text bigger, you can do the Control, Shift, and plus all at the same time, and that's going to increase the size of the text. You can also do Control minus, and that's going to shrink the size of the text in the screen. Okay? All right, so if you've managed to put the web shell in its own browser tab and it's nice and big, please let us know in the chat. Please type something like, web shell up smiley face. So as usual, you can also clear off the screen by typing the clear command, and then use the ls command to see what's in your directory. So in your directory, it should only be the readme.txt file over here. But yeah, I see some people have their web shells up. That is great. Okay, so let's start the challenge. So the first challenge we're going to do is, where are we? Okay, this is session 2. And this is a GitHub page over here, and it has all the challenges we're going to do today. I'm going to share the link in the chat with everybody. And if you want, you can open up that web page that goes to GitHub, and there are going to be all the links to the challenges we're doing today. Okay. So the first challenge we're going to do is the first find challenge. So you can either go over to the GitHub page and click on the link, or you can click on the link in the chat in Zoom or in YouTube or wherever you are. So after that, you want to go over to your picoctf webpage over here, and then you want to paste in the address and then navigate to this page. So when we go over to the first find challenge, the description over here is going to say unzip this archive and find the file named uber-secret.txt. So what we need to do in this challenge is we need to find a certain file inside of the big file here. So for this challenge, we have a zip file. So there's a zip file located right here in the challenge page. We're not going to click on it. We're not going to left click on it. We're going to right click on the file, and that's going to bring up this little window right here. And what we want to do is we want to select the copy link option. So it's going to be copy link or copy link address. We want to click on that. So first right click and then click on copy link or copy link address. And then we're going to go over to our web shell. So after you've done that, go to the web shell. If you don't interact with the web shell, it's going to log you out. You just need to click back into the web shell and then hit the enter key to reconnect to the web shell. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a directory to hold the files that we're going to be using for this challenge. So in Linux, we like to keep organized. So I'm going to teach you a command that we're going to do to create a directory inside of our home directory here. So the command is mkdir and then space, and then the name of the directory we want to create. So this challenge is called first find. So we're going to type in first find, all one word with no space. When we're naming directories and files inside of Linux, we don't want to include spaces in the file names. So we're just going to call this one first find, hit enter, and then when we do ls, we'll see that the first find directory has been created inside of our directory here. So we just need to use the cd command to enter that directory. So it's going to be cd space first find. And remember, you can just type the first couple of letters of the file name or directory name, and then hit the tab button to autocomplete the name. So after that, we're inside the first find directory, and now we're ready to download the file. So to download the file, we're going to use the wget command. So wget is a command in Linux we use to download files. It's wget and then space, and then we're going to paste in the file address that we copied earlier. So in order to do that, we just need to right click and then select paste. So that's going to insert the address for the file. After that, we're going to hit enter to download the file. And you should see output that looks kind of like this. When you do ls again, you're going to see that the files.zip file is in your current directory. All right, so we've done quite a bit. If the files.zip file is in your current directory, please let us know in the chat by typing we have the file. Smiley face. If you're having any trouble, please let us know at what step you are having trouble, and we'll try to help you out because we don't want to leave anybody behind. We want everybody to be able to finish these challenges together. Okay, we have the file. That's great. That's great. Okay. All right. So the next thing we're going to learn is we're going to learn about. So let's do a little recap of everything we've done up until this point, and then we'll continue. So I've got all these fancy slides. We talked about the make directory command, mkdir. When solving challenges in the web shell, it's useful to create new directories to work within them to keep the rest of the file system organized. We use the make directory command. So the make directory command is used to create new directories in the current directory. The syntax for the command is as follows: mkdir, and then space, and then the name of the directory you want to make. For example, mkdir space first find. So let's see, the whoami command is used to return the name of the user account currently being used. So we can actually do this really quick. So this is like a philosophical question. You just type in who am I, and then it's going to tell you the name of your current user. So in your case, it's going to be your username dash picoctf. So next we're going to be using the find command. But before we use the find command, let's unzip this file that we have in our directory. Okay. So in our current directory, we have files.zip. There's a command we need to use to unzip this file. So a zip file, a .zip file, is a file with a bunch of different files inside of it, and we can't work with the files inside unless we unzip the file first. So to do this, we use a command that's just called unzip, and then space, and then the name of the file that we're working with. So unzip space files.zip. And this command is going to unzip this files.zip file. So just type everything up like this and then hit enter. And that's going to unzip all of these files and directories over here. So there's a bunch of directories and directories within directories that are created after you unzip the file. So this is a bit cluttered, so I'm going to clear the screen. And we're going to find the file that we're looking for by using the find command inside of Linux. So at the challenge description over here, it says unzip this file and find the file named uber-secret.txt. So let's learn a little bit about the find command right now before we finish the challenge. Okay. So the find command is going to allow for a search of files and or directories in the file system, and it matches files in the output according to the criteria provided by the command arguments. So basically, the find command is going to look for files or directories depending on what criteria we give to it. So for example, the argument -name is going to search by the name of the file. So this is the find command we're going to use to find the file called uber-secret.txt. So the first part of the command is the command itself, find. The second part over here is the location to be searched. So the location in this case is the dot directory. So if you remember from last time, we talked a little bit about how in Linux the dot directory refers to the directory that we're in right now, the current directory. So dot means current directory. Number 3 is -name. That means that we're going to be searching by the file or directory name. And the fourth part of the command is the name of the file we want to find, which is uber-secret.txt. So let's go back to the web shell and let's use this command. So first of all, it's going to be find, and then it's going to be dot for the current directory, and then we're going to provide the -name argument, which says that we're going to be searching for the file by the name, and then space. And remember, the file that we're looking for, according to challenge, is uber-secret.txt. What we can do is we can highlight the name of this file over here, but make sure that we don't select the single quotes over here, and then copy that, and then go to the web shell, and then you can right click and paste, and then we have the name of the file that we're looking for over here. So it's find space dot space dash name space uber-secret.txt. So when we run this command, we're going to find that the file that we're looking for is at this location right here. So it's going to be in the files directory, in the adequate books directory, in the more books directory, in the secret directory, in the deeper secrets and deepest secrets directory, and then the file is right over here. So this is actually called a file path right here. So this is the file path that leads to the uber-secret.txt file. We want to read this file, but we also don't want to enter all of these directories over here using the cd command, because that's a big pain. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the cat command, but we're just going to supply the file path right here. So to supply the file path, just highlight the entire file path, including the dot, and then copy that. Then after that, right-click again and select paste. And that's going to paste in the file path right here. All right? So after that, we can just hit the enter command to read the file. And the file's contents are the flag right over here. So everybody, we can finish the challenge now. All we need to do is highlight the value of the flag right over here. This is sometimes called a flag string, and a text string is basically some text and some numbers. After you've highlighted it, right-click and select copy, and then go over to the picoctf challenge page. So in the challenge page at the bottom, there's the flag submission field right here. Click into that, and then you can use the Control-V keyboard shortcut to paste in the flag. You can also do right-click and select paste to paste in the flag, and then click on Submit Flag, and then we're finished. Okay, so everybody, if you managed to finish that challenge, please type in the chat, first found smiley face. So if you have any questions about any of the commands we were using or any of the concepts we were talking about, please let us know, because I certainly don't want people to be confused. If you weren't able to finish the challenge, please let us know at what point you were having trouble, and we'll try to help you out, okay? All right, so let's see. So we're talking about find. So next we're going to talk about the rm command. So the rm command is going to delete files or directories, and to keep our picoctf web shell home directory clean, and because we're only allowed a certain amount of disk space, we should delete our challenge directories after we're done solving the challenge. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the rm command to delete the directories after we're finished, okay? So the syntax for the rm command are as follows: rm space file name. But since we're deleting a directory, we also have to use the -r flag for this command. Deleting directories requires the use of the -r flag. For example, rm space -r space first find. So we can't actually delete a directory that we're currently in. So over at the web shell, we're going to back out of this directory. So we're currently in the first find directory. We're going to back out with the following command. It's going to be cd and then just hit enter after CD. And what that's going to do is it's going to bring us back to our home directory. So our home directory is the directory that we're in when we log in. If you do ls after this command, you're going to see that the first find directory is here. We're going to delete it. So we're going to delete it with the rm command, rm space -r, and -r stands for recursive. It basically means that we're going to delete anything inside of whatever, if there's anything inside of the thing that we're deleting, we're also going to delete that. And then we're going to do space, and then we're going to provide the name of the directory, which is first find. So rm space -r space first find. So after we run that command, we're going to see that the first find directory is no longer here because we deleted it. Okay, so if you're having any troubles, once again, if you're having any troubles, please let us know. But otherwise, we're going to move on. So we're going to do another challenge, and we're going to learn about another useful Linux command with the first grep challenge. So first grep, the challenge is located over here. And let me grab that link for everybody. So I'm just pasting it into everybody in the chat. And if you want to access the challenge, you can go ahead and use that link. Okay, so this is the challenge called first grep. So the challenge description says, can you find the flag in file? This would be really tedious to look through manually. Something tells me there's a better way. So what we're going to do, like the other file, is we're going to copy the link for the file that we need to use to solve the challenge. So we're going to highlight the link over here, and then we're going to right click and then select copy link. So for some of the web browsers, it's going to be called copy link address, but either way, you want to click on that option and then go over to the web shell. So this is the challenge called first grep. So what we're going to do is we're going to create another directory to work inside of. So I'm going to clear this off, and then we're going to use the mkdir command again, and we're going to specify that this is a directory called first grep. Remember, we want to keep everything one word. We can't use spaces, because if we use spaces, then it can get messy, and we don't want it to be messy. So mkdir space first grep. And then we're going to enter the directory by doing cd space first grep. And then once we're inside the directory, we can download the file. So to download the file, it's wget and then space. And then we're going to paste in the link to the file. So wget space, right click, select paste, and then the link address is pasted in. After that, hit enter, and that's going to download the file. We can double check that the file is here by doing the ls command. And then we should see that the file, kind of confusing, is in the directory. If you manage to successfully download the file, please let us know in the chat by typing, I got the file, smiley face. All right, some people are reporting that they got the file. That's great to see. So remember, we can read the file by using the cat command. So if we use the cat command with this file, we're going to see that it's filled with a lot of junk, and we can't necessarily find the flag in here. So just wondering right now, does anybody remember what all of the flags for picoctf have in common? They have a certain text a certain word or a certain two words that are at the beginning of all the flags. What is that text? All right, somebody has answered in the chat, and it is the word pico. So all of the flags in picoctf start with the word picoctf. So if we were able to pick out this word inside of the output of that file, then we could find the flag. So we can do that with the grep command. So let's learn about the grep command now. So the grep command, it searches within the contents of files for specified strings. So strings are little pieces of text. It is very commonly used to pick out specific words or phrases. For example, we're going to be using the grep command, and this is the syntax we use to perform the command. So the first part of the command, number one, is the command itself. So we use grep, and then number two is the pattern we're going to search for in the file or the directory. We're going to look for the pattern pico, because all the picoctf flags start with the word pico. And number three, this last part, is the file to be searched, which is the file called file. Okay, so let's do that. So over back at our web shell, we've got our file over here, and we're going to use the grep command. So the first thing is grep, and then space, and then the pattern we're looking for, which is pico, and then space again. And then we're going to specify the file that we want to look inside, which is this file called file over here. All right, so after that, we're going to run the command, and then it gets the exact line that has the word pico in it. So this is the flag right here. The flag is picoctf grep is good to find things, and then some random numbers. So these random numbers over here are different for every user. So you can't necessarily use this flag because each user is going to have their own flag. So what you want to do is you want to highlight the contents of your flag and then select copy, and then go back to the picoctf challenge page. So inside of, all right, so one user says that they got stuck and can't go back to the home directory. Okay, so let me explain after we paste in this flag. So in this field here, paste in the flag, click on submit flag, and you should be finished. But for the person who is stuck over at the web shell, what I want you to do is I want you to do cd and then by itself. So the cd command by itself, and then hit enter. And then when you do pwd after that, it should say /home/ your username -picoctf. So please let us know if you're able to get back to the home directory. And remember, if for some reason your web shell becomes stuck, you can use the Control-C keyboard shortcut to cancel out of a program or a command. So it's going to be Control and the C button, and you should see output like this when you do it. Okay? So if that doesn't get you unstuck, please let us know. All right, so everybody, if you manage to finish the challenge by copying the flag and then submitting it to the challenge page over here, please let us know by typing in the chat, I grepped it. And once again, because we want to be clean, we want to keep our home directory nice and clean, we're going to use the rm command to delete this directory first grep after we finish the challenge. So after we finish the challenge, you want to do cd by itself and then hit enter, and then it's going to bring you to your home directory. After that, print pwd. You should see that you're in home slash your username picoctf. And when you do ls, you're going to see that the first grep directory is here. And we want to delete it because we're finished with this challenge. So we can do rm-r space and then first grep. So after you run this command, you're going to see that the first grep directory is no longer here when you use the ls command. Okay, so let's we're going to do one more challenge to test the skills that we've learned so far today. Next, we're going to solve another picoctf challenge to learn more Linux skills. This one is called, Big Zip. We've already done Big Zip. No, wait, we didn't do Big Zip. We did first find. We're going to do the Big Zip challenge now. All right? So the challenge is located over here. And over on the picoctf website, you can just paste in this over here, and that's going to lead to the Big Zip challenge. The Big Zip challenge says unzip this archive and find the flag. And then there's a link to the Big Zip file. So you just need to highlight the link one more time, right-click, select copy link or copy link address, and then go over to the web shell. So in the web shell, we're going to make another directory. So it's going to be mkdir space and then Big Zip, because that's the challenge name. So just hit enter. Next, we're going to enter the directory cd space Big Zip. And now we're in the Big Zip directory. So now we're going to download the file with wget one more time. Wget space and then right click, select paste, and that's going to paste in the file address. Hit enter. That's going to download the file. All right, so everybody, if you've downloaded the file and you're ready to start the challenge, please type in the chat. I've got the zip file. Smiley face. Okay, great. All right, so we're going to unzip this file. Remember that, so we've already unzipped a file once in this session, but remember that the command we use is unzip and then space, and then the name of the file over here. So you can just type bi, and because we've got the tab to autocomplete the name of the file, we can just hit the tab key, and that's going to autocomplete the name of the file. Very convenient. So just hit enter after that, and that's going to unzip a lot of files. So this is a lot of files and a lot of directories inside of this zip file. So if we wanted to look through all of these directories over here, it would take a really long time, and we don't have the time to do that. So instead, we're going to use some of the commands that we use today to get the flag. So the challenge, it just says unzip this archive and find the flag. So we learned, oh, that's not it. So we learned two commands today. We learned the find command, and we learned the grep command. So which command do you think we should look for? Which command do you think we should use to look for the flag? So we don't know the name of the flag, but we do know what is inside of we do know what word we're looking for when we're looking for the flag. What word are we looking for? Does anybody remember? All right, user D says it is Pico. That's correct. So we know that there are all these files and all these directories, and we have to look for the pattern Pico. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a different version of the grep command to look for the flag. So let me explain. So we're talking about running the grep command recursively. So recursively just means that if there are objects inside of objects, we're going to look inside of each one of those objects. Grep can also be used to search inside of all files in a directory and all directories in those directories. This is called recursion. We just need to use the -r flag. So the command is grep and then space and then -r and then pico and then space and then the directory we're looking inside of, which is the dot directory. Remember, dot means the current directory. So this is going to look in the current directory and all directories underneath this directory for the pattern pico. So let's do this. So this is just going to be grep and then -r and then the pattern we're looking for, which is pico, and then the directory we're looking inside of, which is the dot directory. Remember, dot means the current directory. So grep space -r space pico space dot. When we run this, it's going to identify which file has the pattern. So this one over here, it returns this file path over here and the flag over here. So the flag is this. It is on the same line as this other information over here. Information on the record will last a billion years, something, 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 and then the flag. So we can also read this file by itself. So we can copy the file path, just highlight it, select copy, and we can just use the cat command to read this. We don't need to, but just remember that you can always, whenever you see a file path, you can always copy and paste it. So if we were to read this, it just says information on the record will last a billion years, and then this flag right over here. So to finish the challenge, we're going to highlight the flag string. So it doesn't matter. It's okay if you're highlighting across multiple lines. That's fine. So just highlight the flag value, right-click, select copy, and then go over to the challenge description. In the flag submission field, click into the field and then paste in the flag. Then click on Submit Flag. All right, you should be done. If you managed to finish the challenge, please let us know by typing in big zip zipped. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to do one last challenge to test a few of the different skills we've learned in Linux so far, okay? So over here, we're going to take on the Magikarp Ground Mission Challenge. So we're going to wrap up by solving a challenge that will test our file system navigation skills. We're going to be using the ls command and the cd command, and we're going to be solving this Pokemon themed challenge called Magikarp Ground Mission. So it's going to be over at this link. And over at picoctf, we're going to paste in the challenge, and then we're going to see the challenge over here. So everybody, before we start this mission, let's do a little bit of cleanup over at our web shell because we don't want to leave a dirty web shell. We want to clean up after ourselves. So over at the web shell, we're going to back out, cd by itself, hit enter, and then we see that the big zip directory is here. We want to delete that. So remember it's rm space -r and then the name of the directory, which is big zip. Hit enter, and that's going to delete the directory. Okay, so now we're ready to do the challenge. So the challenge is called Magikarp Grand Mission, and the description says, do you know how to move between directories and read files in the shell? Start the container, SSH to it, and then ls once connected to begin. So log in via SSH as CTF player with the password, this password right here. Additional details will be available after launching your challenge instance. So what we're doing in this challenge is we're going to connect to a remote server from our web shell using the SSH program. So remember, in the last session, we used SSH to get a flag, but this time we're actually going to log into a remote server. So to start the challenge, we need to click on this blue button right here called Launch Instance. So click on that, and then after a couple of seconds, the server for this challenge is going to start up. So you're going to see this new information here. It says challenge endpoint, and then very conveniently, they're going to give us the actual SSH command to log in. So we don't have to piece together the command. We just have to go over to this box and highlight everything from SSH until the end of this number over here. So highlight this all and then copy it. Right click, select copy, and then go over to the web shell. In the web shell, we're going to right click and select paste. And this is the SSH command that's going to let us log in. So we're logging in as the CTF-player user to this server right here, venus.picoctf.net. So after you've pasted in the SSH command, hit enter. And then it's going to ask you, are you sure you want to continue connecting? Type yes, and then hit enter. And then it's going to ask for the password. So we're going to go back to the challenge page, and in the challenge description, they have the password right here. Make sure when you're highlighting the password that you don't highlight the backtick symbols over here. Just highlight everything in the middle. Select copy, and then go over to back to the web shell, paste in the password, and then hit enter. Okay, so you should see this prompt right here, CTF-player at pico-chal. Okay, so once you're in, you can type ls, and then you should see that in your current directory is 1/3.flag.txt and instructions to 2/3.txt. So if you've logged in successfully, please type a logged in the chat with some smiley faces, if you please. Thank you very much. All right. So this challenge is going to involve us collecting 3 parts of the flag in different directories. So the first thing we need to do is we need to read this file right here, 1/3.flag.txt. So cat space, and then just type 1 and hit tab, and it should autocomplete the file name. So when we read the file, we're going to get the first part of the flag. So we're going to highlight this first part of the flag, and remember that there's a character, there's this underscore character after the H. Don't forget to highlight that. And then select copy. Then go back to the challenge description. In the flag submission field, click in, and then paste the first part of the flag. So we're going to use this over here to keep track of the parts of the flag. So after we pasted in this first part of the flag, we're going to go back to the web shell. So in the web shell, there's this instructions to 2of3.txt. Okay. So if you want, you can try doing this on your own, and you can try to get the flag before I finish telling you how to get the flag, and that is a test of to see if you know what you're doing inside of the Linux environment. Okay. So next we want to cat out these instructions. Cat instructions to 2of3.txt. Hit enter. And then it says, next, go to the root of all things, more succinctly, /. So this is the name of the directory that we need to go to. So okay, let me explain what these directories are. So we've got a presentation over here. So we've got the home directory. So each user on a Linux system has a space where they can store all of their personal files. It's located at /home/username. For example, /home/the Shyhat. And we also have the top level directory. The top level directory in a Linux system is the / directory, where we can find all of the other directories and files in the system. It can also be called the root directory, which can be confusing since there's another directory called the root directory. So let's go to that directory. In the web shell, we're going to cd space to /. So after that, if we do pwd to get the current directory, we should see that we're in the / directory. And if we do ls to take a look at what's in the directory, we should see all of our usual Linux directories in here, but there are also a couple of files. There's this 2of3flag.txt and the instructions to 3of3.txt files. So we're going to read these files. So we're going to cat out 2of3.flag.txt, which is this. And like the other flag piece, we're going to highlight it and then copy it. Then go over to the challenge page, and we're going to paste in the second part over here. So just click into it, select paste, and then our second part has been added to the first part. Back at the web shell, there's the instructions to 3of3.txt file here. So we're going to read that. And then the file has inside of it, lastly, CTF player, go home, more succinctly, this symbol right here, which is called a tilde. So remember what I taught you about going to the home directory? Can you tell me how you go to the home directory in Linux? Does anybody remember how to do it? So to go to the home directory in Linux, you can do cd by itself, but you could also do cd and then you can use the tilde symbol over here. So the tilde symbol is located just above the tab key on most keyboards, and it's the shifted version. So if you do the key by without the shift, it's going to be the back tick over here, but if you do it with the shift, it's going to be the tilde. So most of the time you don't need to keep track of this because we can just do cd by itself, then hit enter. When we do pwd, it should say that we're in /home/ctf player. And I'm going to clear this off. If we take a look inside over here, there are two things in here. There's the drop-in directory, and there's the 3of3flag.txt file. So let's collect this last flag file over here, cat 3of3.flag.txt. Okay, and this is the last part of the flag. So we can just highlight this and then copy it Then go over to the challenge page. In the challenge page, we've got our first two parts of the flag, and we're going to paste in the third part. All right, and now we have three parts of the flag. It is now complete. So we can click on Submit Flag. And that should finish the challenge. Sometimes when you click on a button in picoctf, it doesn't go through, so you can try it again. Okay, and we can try it again. All right, this time it worked. All right, so if you were able to finish the Magikarp ground mission file, sorry, the Magikarp ground mission challenge, please type in the chat, I choose you, Magikarp, smiley face. So if you take a look at the web shell now, you should see that your connection to the server that you logged into via SSH is now closed. All right, so we see that some people have finished the challenges. Great to see. If for some reason you were having some trouble, please let us know where you encountered your difficulties, and we'll try to catch you back up. All right, so before we finish today's session, let's take a look at a review of all the commands that we learned today, okay? So we took a look at the find command. The find command is used to search for files on the system. It can be used with many different arguments and flags to refine the search parameters. So if we're over at JS Linux, so say that we're at JS Linux and we want to find all of the files that belong to the root user. So we're the root user here. We would do find space and then user root and then hit enter. It's going to find a lot of files because a lot of the files in the Linux system are owned by the root user. But let's quit out of that. Okay. So we also talked briefly about the whoami command. It is used to return the name of the user account currently being used. The rm command is used to delete files or directories, but deleting directories requires the use of the -r flag, which, for example, rm space -r space, the name of the directory you want to delete. We talked about the grep command. It searches within the contents of files for specific strings. It's very commonly used to pick out specific words or phrases. So if you want to see something that is not very useful for the grep command, you can go over to JS Linux and we can grep R for the pattern the inside of the current directory, actually inside of all the directories. So it's going to look for this word inside of all of the files in the file system. It's going to be a lot of stuff. Oh. So because the word the appears in a lot of these files, but it finds them all because that's what the grep command does. It finds little pieces of text. Okay? So what's next? In the next Hacker Frogs After School Linux OS workshop, we're going to keep learning more about the Linux OS using the picoctf platform. So we've got more commands to learn and more challenges to finish, and we're going to be doing the next session on Friday. So let's see, that's going to be Friday, October the 11th, and it's going to be at the same time. Everybody, I hope to see you there, and if you don't have any more questions, if you don't have any questions about what we learned today, you can go ahead and leave the call. But if you want me to help you out with something you didn't understand, or for some reason you have some other questions, please stick around and let us know in the Zoom chat, and I'll try to answer your questions as best as I can. In the meantime, I'm for the live stream. We're going to go to a be right back screen.